Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome back to Easy Mathematics. We thank God for another wonderful opportunity to come to you and to give you the knowledge or the little knowledge we have in mathematics. This time we've started with a lesson in Basic 9, which was Introduction of Sets, and we also have a video on simplification of set which we are yet to upload. But today we want to look at indices in Basic 8, which happens to be the first thing we are choosing to go through with you. Now, indices is something that we've already treated in our previous videos, which we have lessons on indices, how to multiply numbers using the law of indices, and we've also treated exponential equations. So under indices and exponential equations, we'll just come with you with more examples, solved examples of indices. Now, in our previous video, we were able to explain each law of indices and we took some examples. That was somewhere in 2022. Today, we just want to solve an example under indices and remind ourselves on the laws of indices. So let's quickly go to the number one and see what we are to do. Now the number one is saying that you are to multiply 2 to the power 3 times 2 to the power 5. In our previous video, we've explained and made known the name given to the 2 and the name given to the number at the top. But for a short revision, all we need to know is that anytime we have something like this, it is known as indices. And an index or indices is used to represent multiplication that shows a repeated factor. Good. So now once I have 2 to the power 3 times 2 to the power 5, I am going to use the law of indices to multiply this. And which of the laws says that when the bases are the same, you are to add? That is the first law of indices. So the first law of indices makes us understand that whenever you are multiplying indices and you notice that the base of what you are multiplying are the same. So this is 2. That is the base, and the base there is also 2. Now the first law says that add the powers or the exponent. So because I am multiplying this and this, and they have the same bases, I am going to select one of the base, then I will add the powers, and that is going to give me 2 raised to the power 8 or 2 exponent 8. So the 2 is the base, and the number written at the top of the 2 is the exponent. It is the power or the index. Good. So that is what the first law says. That's the first law of indices. Now the second one is an example of the second law. The second law also says that when you are dividing and the bases are the same, we only use the law of indices when the bases are the same. When the bases are not the same, we can't use the law of indices. So here we have 2 exponent 8 divided by 2 exponent 4. Because the bases are the same, we will just pick one base. Now, because we are dividing this power by this power and we have the same bases, the second law is saying that subtract the powers. And of course, we know that something like this can also be written as 2 raised to the power 8 divided by or all over 2 raised to the power 4. So this expression can also be given to us like this. So once we have something like this or this, and they have the same base, we are going to use the second law of indices, which states that when you are dividing and the bases are the same, subtract the powers. So since the bases are the same, we just have to subtract the powers, this minus this. Then that gives us an answer of 2 raised to the power 4 as your answer. So basically we have more examples in our previous video, which will be copied. We'll copy the list, the link at the description page so that you can click on it to get the introduction of it. Now the number 3 is also based on the third law. Now the third law says that if a number raised to a power is raised to another power, then multiply the powers. So you can see that this number raised to a power and all is raised to another power. So we are going to multiply the powers. So this is going to give you x raised to the power 2/3 times 6. So we can say 3 here 1, 3 here 2. Now this gives you x raised to the power 4 as your answer. More or less, these ones are mostly objectives which you can come across them. All you need to know is your first law, your second law, your third law, and also the fourth and fifth law, which is now in our new curriculum. So when a number is raised to a power and it is again raised to another power, you multiply the powers. Being able to know the laws of indices will help you to solve any work under indices, regardless if it performs or has the same meaning. Now this one is also saying, which happens to be the fourth law based on the new curriculum. Now whenever you have something like this, you have a number squared, a number in an exponent, another number in an exponent, and they are all having an exponent. Based on this law, which is the third law, if a number is raised to a power and again raised to another power, we multiply the powers. So the power here will multiply this power, and this same power will multiply the other power. So this is going to give you x raised to the power 5 times 3 and y raised to the power 3 times 3. So this power will multiply this power, and again will multiply this. So we are going to get x raised to the power 15, then y raised to the power 9. And this gives us our answer. All we need to know is the laws. Basically, we were having 3 laws. That is, when you are multiplying, the bases are the same, add the powers. When you are dividing and the bases are the same, subtract the powers. When a number is raised to a power, raised to another power again, you multiply the powers. That was the law that we knew. They were only 3. But based on this one, we have been given 4 laws. And one of the law that makes it 4 is that whenever you have something like this, the power will multiply, the overall power will multiply each of the powers in the bracket. Good. So now that we know the laws, we can apply them. These are just introduction, which God willing next week will come with more of this. Now the 5th law, which happens to be the very last one, tells us that not always that the exponent or the power will be positive. So far, we can see clearly that all the examples that we are doing, or all the examples that we've done, all the powers happens to be positive. Now, the 5th law makes us understand that it is not all exponents are positive. Sometimes an exponent can be negative. So the 5th law makes us understand that if the power is negative, we are going to write the reciprocal of the number. And the reciprocal simply means we are going to write it upside down. So this y, we are going to write it 1 over 1 over y, so that we can get rid of the negative power. So this is just write the reciprocal of y. We know that y is a whole number which can be written as over 1. So this is basically y over 1 raised to the power negative 10. Okay, that is how it is basically. So the law is saying that because the power is negative, just reciprocate this so that the power negative will be positive now. So the moment I reciprocate this, it is going to be 1 over y. Now when you reciprocate it and the 10, the y comes along with the negative 10, the negative 10 now becomes positive so that we can get rid of the negative. So the fifth law, that is what it is saying. So it says that when a power is negative, reciprocate the base in order to get rid of the what? The negative power. So if you reciprocate the base is basically y over 1. That is the base, which is raised to the power negative 10. So if you reciprocate the power, you are going to get 1 over y. Then we get rid of the negative because of the reciprocal that we've been able to do. So instead of saying y raised to the power negative 10, it is the same as 1 over y raised to the power 10. And this law helps us to understand how to work with powers that are negative. We need to know the laws. Very, very important. Now when you look at this, it is example of the fifth law. So this basically is 5 raised to the power negative 2 over 1. I need to reciprocate it so that I can get rid of the negative. That is going to give you 1 over 5 raised to the power 2. We explained also that a power shows the number of times the base is multiplying itself. The power. It shows the number of times the base is multiplying itself. We were taught this in basic 7 and we have to know this in basic 8. So if you have 5 raised to the power 2, it means the 5 is multiplying itself 2 times. And that gives you an answer of 1 over 25. Simplified. So what you should know is that a power can be negative and a power can be positive. But when the power is negative, we reciprocate the base and get rid of the negative in front of the power. And that gives you 1 over 5 squared. Then finally, you also have that of the third law. You should just know the law of head. You should know that when the moment the person is given, okay, I am multiplying, bases are the same. This is the first law. Dividing, bases are the same. This is the second law. The third law. Fourth, probably the fifth, which will help you to simplify that. Now the last one, this is the third law. When a number raised to a power, and it is again raised to another power, what does it say? It says multiply the what? The powers. So if you multiply the powers, you have x raised to the power 4 times negative 3. Now this is going to give you x raised to the power negative 12 because 4 times 3 is 12 and negative times positive is negative. Now what were you told if the power is negative? So you see, we've applied the third law in this question, and now we are going to apply the fifth law. First, we saw that the base x is raised to a power 4, and this again is raised to another power negative 3. So I'll use the third law to get my answer for the first step. So if you multiply these two, you are getting negative 12. We were told that when a power is negative, reciprocate the base so that you can get rid of the negative. So if I'm to reciprocate this, I'm going to get 1 over x raised to the power 12 as my answer, so that I can get rid of the what? Of the negative. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We shall draw the curtains down for today's lesson in basic 8. That is indices. We'll come again with more examples and solving indices in situations whereby we need to know when and how to apply the law of indices using the pegged mass. The name is Christian. See you next time. Please don't forget to share, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. We need sponsorship. You can sponsor this program based on anything you want to do for this program, for this service, to be known by others, to be educated by others. The name is Christian. Please subscribe and please sponsor the program. Again, we look at indices. We just saw an example because we have video on we have previous video based on this, which was the introduction to indices. We're told the first law, the second law, the third law. And here we've added the fourth and the fifth law about what to do when the power is negative and how to go about it. See you next time, God willing. Stay blessed. God bless you. Bye-bye.